Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maureen O'Connor from Quilter's Heaven in Northbrook, Illinois, and I am the Opinionated Quilter. In today's episode, we are going to finish the Hunter's Star, but before that, let's get to my opinion. For those of you who know me, I'm a little bit of a math nerd, so my opinion today is 360 is the coolest number ever. If you make anything that's circular, hexagonal, octagonal, you will know you use different size wedges. 360 degrees can be divided into more numbers than I can hardly count. It's important to know what degree wedge you are using. We all know the 60-degree triangles, as in this example, 6 pieces, 360 divided by 6 is 60. There's also the 45-degree, 8 pieces coming to the center, 360 divided by 8, 45 degrees. These look drastically different, but they both have 8 pieces coming to the center. Important to know. And it doesn't matter if they're triangles or diamonds. This one's a diamond, but it's still 6 pieces, so it's still 60 degrees. Why is this important? Well, there are 15-degree rulers. We've already mentioned 60. 45 we've mentioned. How about a 9? 30. How about 120? We've already said 30. 12 degrees, 10 degrees, 36 degrees. Do you need all these rulers? No. You only need them if you're going to make a project using it. Why do you need to know the difference? This is 16 wedges. So this is 22.5 degrees. If you pick up your 18-degree ruler instead of your 22.5, you need 20 for the 18 and 16 wedges for the 22.5. That's why it's important to know how many wedges and how many degrees your project requires so that you pick up the correct ruler and choose the right number of fabrics for your project. That's it on my opinion. Hope you found this helpful. Let's get to today's episode. Let's get to planning your Hunter's Star. This is the Hunter's Star I did with multicolored star points, which has to be carefully planned out so that you get all your correct colors on the correct ends of your trapezoids. And I'm going to show you how I did this. I'm going to show you this shape, the octagonal shape. And this one I did use the large Hunter's Star ruler. This is the large one. This is an 8-inch block. This became larger than I want to make to show you how to do. So I went ahead and made a smaller one. I did 6-inch blocks, and rather than single color star points, I did multicolor star points. So let me show you how this is done. When I designed my Hunter's Star, I did not have this Hunter's Star graph paper. I made this up to show you. I did, however, draw it all out. This is my actual drawing for the black and white quilt that I showed you. This was my map to how I set up the star points. After I drew this out, I then drew a 4-block drawing, and then I drew out which pieces got the long trapezoid. If you recall from last time, if you're not starting a star, you need a longer trapezoid and a star point on only one end. This tells me that I needed a long trapezoid and color number 2. I drew these out for every block. Now, some of the blocks were the same, so I didn't have to draw it out a second time. But for every set of 4 blocks, I had a drawing. So I made this much nicer for you to see here. I made this graph paper, and then I said, okay, I want to do that octagonal shape. So I took the piece of paper and I drew out what blocks I was going to use from this piece of graph paper. Then I mapped out that I wanted to make this a half square triangle in the corners here. And I also took the whiteout pen and whited out any of the pieces that didn't get a star point, which I did on each edge. Then I said which was going to be black half square triangles and trapezoids and which were going to be white, which obviously I just used B for black and W for white and wrote my B's and W's all the way around so that they alternated. Then I had to decide what colors I wanted to do. In the full quilt you saw, I had all blue stars, all green stars, all pink stars. In the example that I made you to show this, I have 8 different color stars. So to put them on my little map here, I had to label them. So I did pink was PK, purple was PR, and then everything else was the first letter of the name of the color. And I went ahead and put them in each star point. It might be a little too hard for you to see from here, but each color is in its star point. So then I take my bigger piece of paper and map each block out. So in my little example, I only need 3 full blocks. One is here. When I say blocks, I mean sets of 4. And here's number 2. And then the third is half on this side and half on this side. So I know number 1 is here. So I make a sheet number 1 with all 8 half square triangles. So to start with it, to know which is the right side and which is the left side, I showed you this last time on the red and green example. I take my little half square triangle here and I look and I say, okay, the green goes here and nothing goes here. So for my very first one, I fill in an X here because I know I don't want anything here, so that means I need a long trapezoid, and this one's green. So then we can move to the next black one. Here, I need a yellow here and a pink here. So that's this one. Yellow here, pink here. And so around. So I get all of my blacks, all of my whites for this square. I do the same thing with this one. This one has the same green one that the black had here, but now here we have an orange here. So that's here. So you just fill out each one of these. If it has an X, it's a long trapezoid. If it has 2 colors, it's a regular size trapezoid. So I did 6-inch blocks. So the regular trapezoid, you use your ruler on the 6-inch line. When I have a long trapezoid, I use the 8-inch line to cut those. So now I have them all done for all 3. And I just go through and I make one at a time. It's a little slow. When I did the full-size quilt, I would have 2 or 3 blocks the same. So I would do those 3 at a time. There's only 3 sets of 4 here, so it just was easier to do one at a time. You might want to set your ironing board up next to your sewing machine so you don't have to travel too far. Now, one thing I want to point out about sewing the trapezoids onto your star point strips, I showed this last time. And these are the drawings from Deb's ruler. And if you're on this side, you have to start 2 1/4 below the top. And on this side, you have to make sure you don't go down too low. When you're doing one at a time, most of the time you're taking a strip to sew on a trapezoid that already has an angle cut off of it. And I'd like to show you something about that so you don't waste too much fabric. Okay, these are the right-sided star points here. And as you recall, 2 1/4 from the top is what's shown here. Well, if you've got a square edge up here, yes, you do. But with when it's already cut here, you don't have to go down another 2 1/4. You can go right here, because after this is pressed, you can see this is the angle you're going to be cutting at. So you don't need to waste 2 1/4 inches each time you add one of these on. On the other side, this side, you can start at the top, but you have to make sure you don't go all the way down to the bottom. And so you can start anywhere up here because you're going to be cutting this angle. You do have to be careful down at the bottom. If you get all the way down that far, if you went down here and pressed this and cut here, you would have no fabric here. So you do have to be careful that you don't go down too low with the cut off point. You do still need to leave your 2 1/4 so that when you cut, you have fabric covering the whole trapezoid. So just one little bit of caution on these. We don't want to waste fabric. So I did finish this, I did get my multicolor star points, and I have each one in the same position as you go around. You don't have to. Make your own design however you want to make it. Just map it all out and do one block at a time if you have to. If you've got 3 or 4 of the same, you can do those at the same time. Now that's all that's left on this is borders, and of course needs to be quilted and bound. I hope you learned something today. Please make a hunter star. They're quite fun, and we'll see you next time.